The rain had not stopped for 3 days, and 7-year-old Wren Callahan had not eaten a full meal in almost as long. She sat beneath the awning of a shuttered bakery on the corner of 5th and Miller, her knees pulled to her chest, watching steam rise from vents in the sidewalk like the breath of some sleeping giant beneath the city. In her lap, wrapped in a torn piece of newspaper, sat the only food she had left in the world, half a stale roll and a sliver of cheese, saved from a shelter meal 2 nights before. Her stomach twisted with hunger, but she did not eat. She was waiting for someone. That someone was an old man named Elias Thorne, who slept most nights against the grate 3 doors down, where the subway breathed warm air up through the cracks. Wren did not know his story. She only knew that his coat was thinner than hers, that his hands shook when the cold came, and that yesterday he had given her his last dry match so she could warm her hands over a small fire in a coffee can. Kindness, Wren had learned even at 7 years old, was not about having enough. It was about giving what little you had anyway. If you believe kindness like this still exists in the world, if you believe small acts from broken people can still light up the darkest nights, hit that like button right now, drop a comment below telling us you believe in second chances, share this with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to Hope and Wisdom so you never miss a story like this one. When Elias shuffled over that evening, his shoulders hunched against the rain, Wren unwrapped her newspaper bundle without a word and held it out to him. He looked at her for a long moment, his eyes glassy and tired, and told her he couldn't take a child's food. Wren only pushed it closer. "You gave me fire," she said. "I'm giving you bread. That's fair, isn't it?" Something in the old man's face cracked open then, like ice breaking on a forgotten pond, and he took the bread with trembling hands and split it in half, insisting she eat her share. They sat together in the doorway that night, 2 strangers bound by nothing but hunger and grace, sharing the last food either of them had, while the rain hammered the awning above them like applause for a performance no one else would ever see. Wren had come to this corner 3 months earlier, after her mother's illness had taken the last of their savings and, eventually, taken her mother too. There had been no father in the picture, no aunts or uncles with room to spare, only a caseworker who promised placement was coming soon and a waiting list that never seemed to move. In the meantime, Wren survived the way so many invisible children do, shelter to shelter, stranger to stranger, learning which doorways kept the wind out and which church vans handed out sandwiches on Tuesdays. What she did not know, what she could not have known, was that a man sitting in a parked car across the street that very night had watched the entire exchange unfold through his rain-streaked windshield. His name was Marcus Vane, a night shift ER physician driving home after a brutal 30-hour shift, and something about the sight of a starving child giving away her last meal to a starving old man had frozen him in place long after the light had turned green behind him. He had seen suffering every day of his career. He had rarely seen grace like this. Marcus did not approach them that night. He told himself it was exhaustion, or fear of overstepping, or simple disbelief at what his tired eyes had shown him. But he could not sleep when he got home. He kept seeing the girl's small hands tearing that roll in two. Kept seeing the old man's face crumble with gratitude. By 4 in the morning, Marcus was back in his car, driving through empty streets with a bag of groceries and a decision he could not fully explain, even to himself. The next morning broke gray and cold, but something in the air on 5th and Miller had shifted. When Wren woke stiff and shivering in the bakery doorway, she found Marcus crouched a few feet away, not looming, not rushing her, simply waiting with the patience of a man who understood that trust had to be earned in small, careful pieces. He did not offer money. He offered breakfast, warm, real breakfast, eggs and toast from a diner around the corner, and he asked her name, and he asked about Elias, and he asked, gently, whether she had anyone looking for her. Over the following weeks, Marcus became the adult Wren hadn't known she was still allowed to hope for. He contacted the caseworker himself, cutting through months of stalled paperwork with the kind of relentless persistence only a person who had seen too many children fall through the cracks could summon. He brought food for Elias too, not out of pity but out of respect, because he understood now that this old man had taught a starving child that generosity was still worth practicing even when you had nothing. Slowly, carefully, a new life began to take shape, a foster placement that turned into something steadier, a bond that turned into something like family, and a friendship between a child and an old man on a street corner that neither of them ever forgot, even after Ren no longer had to sleep in doorways. Years later, Ren would tell people that the worst night of her life had also been the moment everything began to change, and that the lesson she carried forward was simple: what you give away in your darkest hour often finds its way back to you in forms you never expected. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that kindness still matters. It truly helps this channel keep telling stories like Ren's. And before we go, we'd love it if you left just one word in the comments below: Grace, if this story moved you the way it moved us to tell it. Some meals feed the body for only a moment. But some meals, shared freely in the coldest of nights, end up feeding an entire life.